Alright, guys, welcome to my new series called Amusement Thrills with Mig Fresh. This is a wonderful series that I am beginning. As you can see in the gameplay, I'm playing RollerCoaster Dreams here while I'm discussing some few interesting topics that I'm passionate about. I am a big theme park junkie, and since I was little, I grew up in Daytona Beach, Florida. And since I was young, I always went to Orlando, to Universal Studios. I was born in 1990, so Universal Studios was born 4 months before I was. So it's like we grew up together. And all these rides, from Back to the Future to Jaws to King Kong Confrontation and E.T., which is still there, and we'll get to that in a second or a little bit later time. But today, I want to talk about an attraction at Universal Studios that just so happened to have ended a week ago on October 8th, and I think you guys may or may not know which one I'm referring to, but it's something that's dear to my heart, and I'll tell you about that. Terminator 2 3D. This attraction, I'm sorry to say, this attraction just ended. It just closed its doors, and I was so happy I was able to go with my fiance out there back to Orlando to Universal Studios last week. On the last week it was open, and we got to go through the attraction. So the weird thing about this attraction is a weird story. When I was a little kid, I went with my mom and my family, my uncles, my aunt, cousins, my dad, my brother. We had a great time. Always went to Universal Studios, as I mentioned briefly. And I remember going through it. It's a 3D attraction, as you can see. You sit there, you wait through this queue line, you go through the pre-show, and this lady, she'll be at the top level, and she'll start talking to you and telling you about the new plans and all that stuff, and the plans for the future. The future's looking bright, and then they show you a video and whatnot. So you go through that, then you go through the doors, and you find your seat, you sit down, she talks a little bit more, and then she shows you the robots, as you can see. The Terminator type robots that are programmed to do what you want them to do. So, of course, in the future, that just seems like a bright idea, but it's also really bad. Like, these things have a mind of their own. They can be hacked or whatever. Kind of like iRobot-esque type thing. So, you watch this, like, little demonstration, so to speak. Then, the show actually begins and everything hits the fan, pretty much. You should just look it up. But during the 3D part, that thing scared the mess out of me when I was a kid, because I'm a little guy, and like, I'm with my mom, and I'm just like really frightened that this like 3D thing's popping in my face. And I'll show you a picture, as you see there. It's just, I just hit in my mom's like arm, like my head in the seat, and I was like really frightened. And the only other time I remember doing that as a kid is that movie Face Off that came out back in the day. That movie just scared me. I was like, chill, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I'm seeing this grown adult movie, and then boom, like somebody has somebody else's face, and I'm like, oh man, no, I can't do this. I'm just a little kid. So yeah, this ride, or attraction, I keep saying ride. This, because usually I like to talk about rides, but this is very important and it's very old school. So this attraction, this show, began in April 27th of 1996. So at that time, I was 5. My birthday's in October, so I wasn't 6 yet. So I was 5 years old when this thing came out. And I'm sure I saw it around that time. Watch the show. It's at the entrance of Universal Studios Orlando theme park. And this thing's been around for 21 years plus now because it just closed its doors. So I just wanted to talk about that briefly, how much this park is changing Universal Studios Orlando. I mean, it's adding so many things to it, and it's just crazy that the only thing left remaining is E.T. because Jaws ended in 2012, Back to the Future ended in 2008, Confrontation closed in, I think, might have been early 2000s or 2009 or something like that. I think 2009, yeah. For Mummy, which, by the way, I love that roller coaster. That dark indoor roller coaster is beautiful. But yes, and I hope that stays because there were talks that was gonna go soon, or it just really needs to be upgraded. But to stay on track, everything's changing. Everything's changing. Some for the better, but some kind of bother me because it's a lot of screens and a lot of 3D rides, which are cool to some aspect. And in another like podcast series, we'll talk about that. But it's just I like the you build the rides, the animatronics are working, and you just go through it, and everything's just genuine. Like if you've been on ET, everybody knows and loves that queue line smell. It is so memorable, and it's been there. And the thing about that is that I don't want that ride to go. And again, we'll talk about that in another podcast. But Terminator 2 3D just ended. Just wanted to pay homage to it. Rest in peace. April 27th, 1996 to October 8th, 2017. Exactly a week from the time I'm recording this right now. And it was fun going to watch it though. It was the screen definitely needed an upgrade because like depending on where you sat, like my fiance and I, we sat on the left side of the venue, so it was really cool. But it's like depending on where you sit, if you're not sitting in the middle, it is really, really blurry with the 3D. And they just needed to upgrade. I feel like it could have stayed. And I get why I guess it needs to go because it's at the front. It's the first attraction to your right once you go to Universal Studios. So, I mean, that needs to be big. So, I get why it needs to go, but I wish that they could just move it to a side small area, kind of like ET is, where it's near like the kids zone. And that has possibilities of changing too. And hoping ET doesn't get touched because it's just in its own corner and it's away from everything and it doesn't really need to be bothered. And people love it still, genuinely, like the people that have been going through that ride forever. I mean, just it's fun. They added new tracks to that ride recently, so it's still updated. They're still working on it because I remember a short stint of time, like late 90s, early 2000s, Universal Studios, Orlando's one of ET. That ride used to always break down on people, and I'm glad that they updated the traction and whatnot. But I feel like with Terminator 2 3D, they could have just moved it, and I get it's not authentic in the sense that, if you picked it up, rebuilt it somewhere else, kept the same thing but upgraded a little bit, that it's not as authentic because it's not in the same location. So it's a whole new ride virtually, pretty much. It'd be Terminator 2 3D 2.0, and I mean, people would love it though. And as of now, they're gonna keep the same gift shop for the location that it was, but the ride officially shut down, or attraction, sorry. But there's talks right now. Universal Studios is thinking about getting Secret Life of Pets, some new attraction like that, or something magnificent, some Star Trek-esque type attraction show, probably 3D as well, which is fine as long as it's very interactive and it's like in your face, kind of like Terminator was for its time. Because that thing was really big, and I'm sure you guys seen it. A commercial, they always show that, or used to show that, where the silver face from the cop, um, just goes to the crowd and scares the mess out of you. Like, it's really awesome. So, some big attraction, they haven't announced it just yet of what's going there. But hopefully we'll find out soon, and I know it's going to be really big. Universal Studios never, ever really lets us down. So we got a lot of big things coming up, a lot of new stuff coming up. Yeah, so just wanted to touch bases again. 21 years of it being there. Thank you guys for all the actors and stuff that came through and played it. Brought a lot of love and joy to our lives. So rest in peace again, April 27, 1996 to October 8th, 2017. Terminator 2 3D officially closed its doors. Rest in peace to you. So I want to thank you guys so much. This has been an amazing first little segment of Amusement Thrills. I want to thank you guys so much, and this is a series, by the way, that will be covering a lot of theme park action while showing you a little bit of Roller Coaster Tycoon and Roller Coaster Dreams theme park gameplay. So I want to thank you guys so much. Love you, and until next time, always stay fresh while being blessed, y'all. Peace.